How to avoid hiring the wrong financial advisor. Today we're going to start this series by talking about certified financial planners. The world of financial advice is very confusing. There are so many different kinds of professionals or people who call themselves professional financial advisors. There's certified financial planners, financial advisors, investment advisors, brokers, registered investment advisors, insurance agents. It's crazy. How do you know who's qualified? How do you know who's impartial? And most important, how do you know who to trust? What follows is a series of videos that explains each of these different kinds of advisors, how they work, and what they're qualified and legally able to sell you, and how that's important in how you make your decisions about who to work with. Now, make sure to subscribe to the channel so that you're advised every time we release another one along these series, because you've got to really see the whole series in order for this to make sense. And as I said before, today we're going to talk about certified financial planners. But before we dive in, I just want to give you one piece of information that will put it all together for you. And this is what I'm talking about. You have to understand that no matter who you're talking to or what kind of advisor you're working with, the kind of license that they have, that will determine what they can and can't sell you. It's a service or a product, financial product.
Oh.
That's really important. Let me repeat that and say it again. The type of license an advisor has will determine exactly what kind of financial advice you're going to get from that advisor.
0 right out 11, 7 of crap 11. Do it over, man, coming out.
That means when your advisor gives you a solution, it could simply be the only product that that particular advisor is able to sell, or it could be a great investment. We don't know that. You'll find out when we finish the series. But when they tell you that they're offering the best investment advice for you, it could be, but it also could differ based on what the advisor's interests are or what they're legally able to sell you, as they've said before. For example, many insurance agents who are only insurance agents, they can only sell insurance. So they often find some way to make insurance the solution to any and all financial problems that you face. Now, don't get me wrong. I think insurance can be super important for the right client, but insurance isn't the only solution to all of your challenges, no way. But because the insurance agent, if they can only sell insurance, it skews how they view financial advice and it skews what they're going to talk to you about. Of course, this issue isn't only a problem for insurance agents, and not all insurance agents are going to do that, but some will. But it can be across the board, again, not only with insurance agents. Now, that should never be, but it is the way the financial world works, and you need to be aware of it. Of course, don't worry, because at the end of this series, I'm going to give you a solution to that problem so that you're not going to become a victim of that issue. So again, make sure to subscribe to our channel. But again, before I give you the solution, I need you to fully understand the nature of the problem. And the problem is it gets a little worse. That's because even if you find an advisor who's honest and trustworthy and impartial, it doesn't necessarily mean they're qualified or even that smart. Again, I'll tell you how to solve that problem as well. But first, there's a lot of material to dive into and to discuss. So let's get started by discussing the world of certified financial planners. First, what is a certified financial planner? A CFP certification isn't a license, it's a designation. And in and of itself, it has no impact whatsoever on which investment advice or products an investment advisor or an advisor CFP can or can't suggest to you as the client. What that means is, in order for a CFP to make a living and to sell you a service or a product, they have to have a license in something else, either as an insurance agent or an investment broker or a registered investment advisor. And we're going to, again, we'll talk about all those additional licenses going forward. Now, the CFP designation is regarded highly within the professional community because it takes a whole lot of work to get that CFP, those letters behind your name. But it's not a guarantee. No license or designation is, and it never can be. Oh, keep in mind, of course, that I'm a certified financial planner. Worked hard to get it. I'm proud of it. I have a lot of regard for the designation. So I'm a little biased. I'll try to keep my biases outside of this video, but I'm only human, and, you know, just take that with a grain of salt. I'll do my best, but, you know, just be aware of it. Let's get back to work. I said earlier that it takes a lot of effort to become a CFP, and that's true. In order to qualify for the designation, there are lots of hoops and hurdles to go through. There's educational requirements, experience requirements, ethics, and of course, and there's a lot of examinational requirements as well. Now, I'm not going to go through all of those right now. They are relatively vigorous. On the other hand, to be frank, advisors don't learn how to be good advisors by studying for the examination. That doesn't make them necessarily a good advisor for you. You learn that by working with clients for many, many years. But I do feel, as I said, that having a CFP certification is a differentiator. It demonstrates a ton of commitment by the person. It reinforces the need to work with your whole overall situation, not just one part, not just the insurance or not just the money management, but your overall situation. Now, there's a huge benefit of working with a CFP, if you ask me, and that is that they have a fiduciary responsibility to you as their client. That means that the CFP has to put your interest above their own or anyone else's. And if a CFP knowingly acts in any other way, they break that fiduciary responsibility, and they could lose their designation, and they could also be open to liability. So it's a very serious matter. A broker or an insurance agent who isn't a CFP doesn't have that same standard or doesn't have the liability. And we'll talk about that, as I said, going forward. It's very important. Of course, even though they have the standard of the fiduciary standard, it doesn't guarantee that every CFP you meet is going to be Sister Teresa with an adding machine. But it does set a higher standard. What are the drawbacks of working with a CFP? There are some. As I said, you'll never meet a CFP that isn't also a broker or an insurance agent or a registered investment advisor or some combination of those three. That's the only way they can make money. They have to have one or more of those licenses, excuse me. And the advice you get from the CFP will depend on which of those other licenses that CFP has. So the drawback is, even though the CFP does have a fiduciary responsibility to you, it doesn't mean that the advice they provide is always going to be the best advice for you. Now, the CFPs I've met have been honest and trustworthy, and I had a lot of respect for them. But there are always a few bad apples. The good news is that there's an oversight body, and that's called the Cfp Board. Now, that board monitors the activities of CFP certificants and regularly disciplines those people who fail to live up to their fiduciary responsibility or other requirements that are set out by the Cfp Board. Sometimes those people are stripped of their certification, and I think that's really good. But keep in mind that because that board does that and has to monitor CFPs, it means that in fact that there are some bad apples out there, and you need to be wary of that. Now, one way to make sure that you don't get stuck with a bad apple is to contact the Cfp Board and find out if the CFP that you're talking with has had any disciplinary issues or bad history or complaints. Now, that would be one of the first steps that I would take if I was in your shoes. And there's some other things that I'm going to recommend you do, which I'll include at the end of this series. But in the notes to this show, you'll see the link to the Cfp Board, and you can contact them to get more information about any CFP that you're talking with. Now, bottom line, working with a CFP designee can be a smart move. because it demonstrates they have commitment, and it demonstrates that they believe in a comprehensive planning relationship and the supreme importance of putting your needs first. But will it teach them how to manage money? No. Will it teach them how to help clients put a financial plan together? No. Will it help someone starting in his profession build their business? Not at all. I'll discuss how insurance agents and stockbrokers and registered investment advisors work soon. So again, make sure that you subscribe to the channel so that you're made aware when we release these other installments. In the meantime, if you have any questions or comments or experiences, I'd love for you to share them, and I respond to all of them. So thank you very much for tuning in, and I look forward to connecting with you in the future videos. Thanks.